so there may be some additional people coming in. If so, you folks in the back, you can tell them there are about 6 or 8 chairs up here in the front. Well, welcome to our first quarterly meeting of the membership of the Madison Organization of Neighborhood Associations. For those of you who are here for the first time, and we do have quite a few of those, our mission at Mona is to share information among the 69 neighborhoods and the members of the neighborhood HOAs in the city of Madison to improve the quality of life, security, and property values of our neighborhoods and the 29,000 homeowners that live in them. We do occasionally take public positions on key issues affecting our neighborhoods and our city, but we do not endorse candidates for public office. I would like to introduce the board members of the Madison Organization of Neighborhood Associations, which we call MONA, so you know who sets the policy and the direction of this organization. I'm the chairman, Carl Crawford, and I'm also president of my neighborhood, Persage, which is off Madison Avenue, just east of Old Canton Road. Our vice chairman is Paul Tankersley. He is president of North Bay and currently in his 3rd day of being snowed in Birmingham. He said I-65 and I-59 are just parking lots in Birmingham. They've all run out of gas and just left their cars on the interstate. It's not a good situation. Our secretary is Nelwyn Madison, and I'll introduce her. She is here, right over here. She's president of the Ingleside neighborhood, and she has a couple of comments she'd like to tell you about the sign-up sheets that she's going to be passing out.
Thank you, Carl. Since you're here, we'd like to know you're here. We have some sign-up sheets. If you've been to Mona meetings before, there's a good likelihood that you're already on the sheet. They're in alphabetical order by neighborhood. So look for your name. If it's not on here, add it to the back. If you'd like to receive notices about future Mona meetings, give us your email address. If your email address is already on here, please check it, because sometimes I have a real difficult time reading them. They're sort of long, and we didn't give you a lot of space to write them in. I've got 4 of these, so I'm going to start them at the front of the room, and I'll start 2 at the back of the room, and they'll be somewhere in the middle during our meeting. Thank you, Carl.
Okay, thank you. Make sure you're on this list. This is our email list. This is the list that we use when we send out notices and news of what's going on in our neighborhoods. Next, I would tell you our treasurer is Janie Jarvis. Janie's president of the Calumet neighborhood. That's over near Bruce Campbell Airport. She's actually at home tonight with 27 young ladies who are spending the night at her home. She is the leader of the youth retreat for Broadmoor Baptist Church, and she did not realize they scheduled the overnight youth retreat, and they're going somewhere tomorrow for the same night as our meeting here. Next, I'd like to introduce Mike McGinnis. Mike is over here. He is a director, member of the board of directors, and an attorney who represents several homeowner associations in Madison and has for several years. And then next is Steve Leslie. Steve is a director on the board and also president of Whisper Lake of Annandale. And our 7th board member is Alexis Burkhalter. Haven't seen her come in tonight yet. She is expected. She is not only a director of Mona, but also the immediate past president of the Victoria Park neighborhood off of Hoy Road. If your neighborhood is not a member of Mona, please consider joining us. Our dues are very reasonable, only $50 a year for the smallest neighborhoods of fewer than 50 homes, $75 for neighborhoods between 50 and 100 homes, and even the largest neighborhoods like North Bay and Reunion, each with more than 500 homes, only pay $100 a year. Please support our efforts for the betterment of all our neighborhoods. We do have a small membership application card here tonight, and Steve Leslie on our board will be glad to hand out any. If If your neighborhood is not a member or you don't know whether they are, please take a membership card with you and just give it to one of your neighborhood officers so that they can fill it out and send it in. Anybody here would like to have a membership card to take home? Okay, if you'd like to come up afterwards, we'd be glad to give you one then. We are also open to your suggestions and your ideas, and you'll find out more about that at the end of tonight's program. If your neighborhood needs Mona's help on any specific issue, we can help you. Just let us know. And if you have ideas on how Mona can help all of our neighborhoods in Madison, please let us know by email. This is the one time of year when we get to hear directly from our mayor. We have asked her to tell us what is going on in our city in her annual State of the City address, traditionally at our first meeting of each new year. Mayor Mary did say she will be taking questions after her remarks. She certainly needs no introduction to any of us. Madam Mayor, thank you for coming tonight.
I cannot believe we have this kind of turnout. Thank you so much for being here. And I'd like to introduce our aldermen that are here. Ian Jacobs, will you please stand up? Steve Hickok, John Howland, I saw him, Pat Peeler. Did I miss someone? There he is, Guy Ballard in the back. Let's give him a hand. So much of their time and their heart is with this community and taking care of our city and protecting our property values. And thank you very, very much. And I want to thank you so much for allowing me the honor to serve as your mayor for going on 34 years. I've said many times since the election May. But that's probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me, because that brought our community together. And I really heard from you about what you truly want this city to be, and that we are on the right track, even though we don't always agree on everything. We have the same goal, and that's building the most wonderful city in the Southeast, and to show others what we can do, they can do, by putting families first and our homes first, and what we believe we can do together. And we have definitely built something remarkable in Mississippi. We've never accepted the status quo or what is mediocre. We've always said we can build the best, and together we can do it. And I want to thank you for giving so much to this community and allowing me to work with you. God bless you. As we look around this wonderful place, we see a lot of things happening. Look to the west, and you see what's happening around the Baptist complex. All the construction going on, and I'll tell you one thing, people do pay attention. Because when the blue went up on the side of that long building, surely, Mary, you're doing pretty fast. And when there was a metal roof, oh my gosh, thank you for caring. I said, just give it some time. So look at it now. We have a wonderful wellness center, and it's the Madison Health Complex, and we have some brochures of all the great things that will be offered there. It's second to none in the state of Mississippi. Indoor pool, all kinds of advice and assessments of what you need to be doing to stay healthy, right here on the corner. With that is Mississippi Eye Care. Wonderful, wonderful addition to this city. And Mississippi Sports Medicine, right there. The opening of the Walgreens. Pretty neat Walgreens, don't you think? And across we have Bellmead Dermatology. And a little further back, Mississippi Pain Clinic. Do you see what's happening? We're seeing specialized medicine come to Madison. Isn't that strong economic development for this community as we grow in the future and have something stable right there? I'm so proud of our students at Madison Central. Young that is unbelievable. 90 students at Madison Central scored over 30 on their ACT test. Wow. And 24 scored over 33. That's in the top 1% in this nation, in Mississippi. Hey, somebody's doing something right with the Madison County School District. Others should look at what Madison County schools are doing. We're very, very proud of these young people. And there are 1.5 million ACT tests given in the United States. And of those, we have 90 of them that scored over 30. That says a lot about what is going on with education in Madison County. When we talk about commercial development and where we're going, you know, some of you have heard this many, many times, but we started as housing as our industry and people as our business, and that we would build a place to live where you could rear your families and that you would have an investment in your home, and that if we built it and it was done right and we never lost our vision and we kept the dream, that we would build our own marketplace and that businesses would come because they could thrive and make a profit. And we wouldn't have to accept anything and everything just to spur development. We did it a little backward, but hey, it worked. Look at the major chains that are in this city that are like none other. Target. Everybody wants to know, where is Target? Well, here's Target. The design approved by the city of Madison and by corporate. Everyone knows, I'll pass this around to you. Everyone knows what's going on in the news with Target. So for now, the pause button has been pushed on the Target store in 15 different locations across the nation. I spoke with Mr. Eggert just this week, and he said, Mary, we're riding the storm. He said, everybody sees the news, but we still love Madison. The developer is coming forth with his site plan for the March Planning Commission, Mr. Lees. And we have Hobby Lobby on that site and a few others that will be on the center behind the Texaco. But there will be a spot reserved for Target as we wait to see what happens. There are other restaurants that we're talking to give you more dining opportunities. When I usually speak to the young, our teenagers, they want to know about a Taco Bell. And I promised them a Taco Bell. So we're waiting to hear from them. They are looking in the city, and design doesn't really scare them at all. So hopefully we'll be able to announce that. The Longhorn Steakhouse, their site plan was reviewed, I think, today in staff meeting. So that's on the drawing board, and it won't look like one you've seen anyplace else either. There's a wonderful restaurant on the coast, thanks to our dear George back here, that is looking for a site, and we're working with them. So there are a lot of good things happening, and I wish I could just roll out a whole list of saying this is when it's coming, and it's going to happen by the end of the year. But good things take a while, and we are building Madison. So maybe at your next meeting, if Carl will invite me back, we may have some of those other names to give you. We have hired a young lady named Robin McCory, and she is the former mayor of Lexington. And she is our business development director. And we have her for a year, and thanks to Makita, we're able to bring her on board. And that's to look at putting in place a Main Street program for our old town, for our historical, not old town, but our historical Madison. And to also work with some of these retail chains and selling them on Madison. So she has really been focusing on Madison Main Street and what we can do for the Depot District to bring it, to give it a little bit of a facelift, and what we can do around the beautiful bridge. And one of the things that we hope to announce would be a farmer's market right at the caboose, to start at the caboose first and eventually move it into the Depot District. Maybe we'll be seeing more of a farmer's market in the summer. Hopefully. That's one of the things that we hope to see. Sam's. Sam's is coming to town. We are waiting for the roadway to be completed at Madison Avenue. Everything has been approved in the Sam's development. And hopefully by the end of November, what MDOT is saying, that the work at Madison Avenue will be completed. They must be planning on really speeding up. But that's the time period that they gave us. But Sam's will be right in the center of Grandview. So we'll just wait, and they will break ground this year. With Sam comes a lot of financial opportunities, and we will see improvements made to Madison Avenue. We will see the development of additional fields at Liberty Park, 3 baseball fields. We will see funds that we will derive from Sam's go to redo and overlay Highland Colony Parkway. So everybody should be happy about that. And as far as our city streets, and Ingleside will be happy, I'm sure, and a lot more. We have $3.5 million that we're going to put in a street repaving program in the city of Madison. The aldermen have given, we met in a work session, and we have gotten lists from all of your aldermen of those areas that they feel that need to be done this year. And right now we are prioritizing those, and I think a lot of people are going to be happy. So we're going to have a $3.5 million run and taking care of some of the streets with no tax increase. Don't have to worry about that. I'm very, very excited to be able to announce a big name. I remember probably 27 years ago, I think I tried to kind of put a little time period for sure. But I contacted representatives of Trammell Crow. And you know, Madison does not have a downtown. If you say I want to go downtown, we don't really have a downtown. And I had the gentleman look at the town square, where a town square could be for Madison, and that is the 17 acres where Two Lane is, the Red Caboose, that whole block, and property now that goes all the way to the railroad track. My heart sank when the developer looked at me and said, "Well, ma'am, you're 20 years away." I said, "I'm not going to be here in 20 years." I was so hurt. So, 27 years later, I am happy to announce that we have entered into a contract with a company called Bayer. Bayer Company out of Birmingham, Alabama, who will be doing a marketing survey for us to determine if the market is right for Madison's town square. Mr. Bayer is very, very big in the business. He did the summit in Birmingham. He also has done 14 million square feet of retail. He's huge. He will be here next week to start the process. And if he tells me it's going to be another 20 years, I don't think I'm going to be here in 20 years. But that is a huge announcement for this community. Because we're not talking about a lifestyle center. We're talking about a town square. Nothing like it in Mississippi. And when it's done, there won't be anything like it in the southeast. It will be Madison. That's exciting. Hoy Road. We have looked at modifications on Hoy Road and what we can do to secure funding and moving that project ahead. At the next board meeting, we will give the engineer the authority to proceed in expediting that process. And we have been able to secure the funding to get the job done. So all of you that use Hoy Road, there's help coming. Now, a lot's been said about Lost Rabbit. I know Lost Rabbit is not in the city limits of Madison. It's outside the city. It borders Hoy Road. But nothing that happens at Lost Rabbit is not a concern to me. Whatever happens at Lost Rabbit affects this city. Lost Rabbit is a community that should be preserved for those residents that believed in what was sold to them and what they bought into. That community should not be short-sold in any way. I'm very concerned about what may be going on concerning Lost Rabbit. I've tried for months to get a copy of the plan and what's proposed in the settlement agreement in a lawsuit with Lost Rabbit. Yesterday, I sat down and had a discussion with Mr. Espy. And I understand that Mr. Espy has clients that he represents, and he can only do so much, and I respect that. But who his clients are causes me concern. Those clients are the Board of Supervisors. When you talk about redevelopment, we're going to help you. From the Board of Supervisors, I want to know the facts. I want to know where our tax dollars are going. I want to know how they're going to make a project work and make it acceptable in a settlement, and what the compromise is that it could affect those residents that live in Lost Rabbit, because one day that's going to be the city of Madison. And how that's going to affect North Bay or Knightsbridge or any of the subdivisions along Boyd Road or affect you as taxpayers. There are a lot of moving parts to this. There are a lot of unanswered questions. And to me, if there's nothing wrong, let me see your plan. I'll show you what we're doing because you should be proud of it. That, to me, is what should be said. But that has not been the case. I heard things that concern me. That a proposal had been submitted to Allstate sell the deal of a compromise that would bail out a developer. This is the proposal that was submitted to Allstate by the Board of Supervisors just last week when they made a trip to Chicago. And on this plan, there are apartment complexes, smaller lots, houses, cottages for 1,000 square feet, carriage houses for 500 square feet, and I'm told don't worry about it because this is not going to happen. I met with the Pearl River Valley Authority, and we have a friend with them. They're going to take care of the homeowners in Lost Rabbit, and they're very interested in being a friend to the city of Madison and making sure that Lost Rabbit is kept intact. But the devil is in the details. What concerns me, when something is in litigation and you go to court and you settle, then you have what's called a court order. And if this is not possible and this is not going to happen, why was this given to Allstate? And when the court has to sign off, is this plan going to be part of the agreement? Where the Pearl River Valley Authority wouldn't have any jurisdiction over the zoning. The city of Madison certainly doesn't. This is scary. Because you really don't know. You've got a developer that will walk off with all of phase 2, and the negative pledge will be lifted in the compromise, doing away with the PID, and he can start development tomorrow. Where are his covenants? What are we going to expect from him with the architectural design? Is it going to be equal to what's already there? We better be careful of this. And the county's going to put up $5 million that will go to Allstate. And part of the taxes, 7.5 mils of the taxes generated in this area, will go to pay the bond off that the county will issue for the $5 million. Who benefits? This man that is suing Allstate and suing the county. So we're going to reward him by giving him some of your tax dollars. If you go back to the covenants of Lost Rabbit, you'll see somewhere down in the documents that the developer can change the covenants. This man would be the successor to the Lost Rabbit development. Does that mean he can change the covenants? That's what we're looking into now. Some say that we're treating this as tax increment financing. Cities across the country give that to spur development, to make it go. Well, if that's true, I know when Madison has given tax increment financing, we dot our I's and cross our T's because we know what the tenant mix is going to be. We know what we're going to get, and we hold their feet to the fire. So before we give this man, this
property and issue any bonds, we need to know what this property is going to be zoned, what the architectural design is going to be. Will it be in keeping what is already in Lost Rabbit? Are these apartments coming out of Lost Rabbit? And what are we talking about? 1,000 square foot carriage houses and 500 square foot cottages. We just don't say it's done and say, hey, you don't have to worry about it because Pearl River Valley Water Supply District is going to take care of it. That's a fight that you can take up there and they'll take care of it. We don't need to fight that after the deal's been made. We need to have an understanding before they take our tax dollars. And I am meddling because it's not in the city of Madison. But it's your tax dollars. The only entrance is at Hoy Road, is in our school district, and it one day will be in this city. And besides, we are family. And we watch over every subdivision that affects our home values. And when you start doing this, you better be ready for another one. So we have to be diligent, and we have to watch what's going on. And we have to make sure that we don't have another problem like Parkway East, where your taxes were raised to pay for a developer who made a bad deal. And ladies and gentlemen, I said I wasn't going to do this, but I am. We need to stop what's going on in the county. You pay tax dollars, county tax dollars, and our money to this day is squandered in engineering fees, in parks to nowhere. I can go on, and there is going to be something that is going to be announced, and you're not going to believe where your money's been spent. We need a cleansing at the county seat. It's got to be stopped. We cannot reach our full potential in this city until we clean up Madison County. And I mean supervisors and the engineer. It's because we have to be the best we can be. We have the highest educational level, the highest homeowner-occupied level, more volunteers. Look at what we do with our children. And the chief was just telling me, I'm working on my numbers with the growth we've had. We've had a good year protecting this city. It's because we care. Because we care. But we can't be all that we can be unless we hold the county accountable to us. It's not just politics. It's not very mad because you can't get enough money from Madison. It's because what's going on is wrong. Wrong. And I'm sorry when someone tells me, just trust us.
No way. Because I care too much for this city and for those of you who trusted me enough to let me serve you again. If you want to join that train, Janet's got a piece of paper to sign up, because we're going to have another meeting, and it's going to be a big one. Well, now that I said I wasn't going to say that part, I'd like to open the floor for questions.
Mayor, may I start the questions?
Yes, sir.
Interesting information about Lost Rabbit that we all have been wondering about. Are you asking the Board of Supervisors, which are announced yesterday, they plan to bring this whole Lost Rabbit issue up in Monday's Board of Supervisors meeting? Are you asking them to make it public and leave it for public comment without acting on it and delay any action on Monday? Is that what you're asking the Board of Supervisors to do?
The Board of Supervisors plan to present this study. I understand the study, John, is 300 pages long, approximately 300 pages long, and there is an executive companion with the documents. I understand that will be presented to the public for questioning. And there will have to be a series of public hearings for this project, because in order to issue bonds, they're revenue bonds. But there's no petition about a protest. That the county can issue the bonds of $5 million to provide the $5 million. But there will be plenty of time to discuss it and for input when those hearings are announced. So I would watch for those, and maybe you all would be kind enough to send notice out to everyone regarding that.
Okay, who would like to have the first question? And please come to the floor mic so everyone can hear you. Anyone want to ask a question? Shirley, yes, sir. Come right on up to the microphone. Thank you. And state your name, please.
I'm Ray Brooks.
And your neighborhood.
Bear Creek Crossing. My question is, I just wondered if there's any immediate plan for you to access the Gluckstadt area.
Unless the board members have something different on their mind, I don't see the City of Madison long-range plan personally going all the way to Gluckstadt Road at Bear Creek Crossing.
I asked, was there any future plans to annex north?
Okay. Is there another question? Shirley, we've raised a question or two.
Yes, sir.
My name is James Barnes. I don't need that microphone to be heard.
Okay.
Curious, Mayor, is first off, you meddle away.
Thank you.
34 years, you earned it, meddle away. With the apartments, what about our law enforcement and our fire services? Are we going to have to support that operation, for the lack of a better term? I believe the fire chief back there will confirm that apartments normally double the manpower, because multi-level, multi-family dwellings double the manpower when they do catch on fire or have an incident. And is our law enforcement going to have to cover it in the case of emergency, or is that going to be the county? The county only has 4 deputies on duty on Saturdays and Sundays, so for the whole county. So are we going to have to absorb some of that, and will it affect? Well, obviously, if we do, it'll affect if we have an emergency for our services in our town.
Thank you. Unfortunately, this is in the county, and it's on Pearl River Valley District Authority property. So PRV has law enforcement, but this is really the sheriff's department. Now, granted, whenever there's trouble, we have an interlocal agreement, and we back each other up, we back Ridgeland up. That's what we do to keep everybody safe. The Madison Fire Department, emergency medical, even though that's not in our district, we do go there if there is a need. So technically, legally, we're not responsible for that. But going back to what I said earlier, this is the plan. The apartments are on this plan, but I'm told these will not be built. What I see here was just presented to Allstate, and this doesn't have anything to do with being part of the settlement. Then why was it in the plan?
Well, if the only way in and out is Holy Road, and that comes through the town, I'm not going to make an assumption. But who's going to pony up on that road needs repairs? Is that going to be the county, since all that traffic's going to get in and out of the county?
Well,
I'm sure that's an unanswered question for you.
well, we could probably get some of that money they're spending near Carthage for the Lee County line for that Sulphur Springs Park. That's something that needs to be addressed. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Yes.
Is there a time frame for the Hoy Road project to begin? I know you said it was going to get to go ahead.
Just saying, 33 months to once it starts, it'll be 33 months. So hopefully we can maybe look at starting 2015 early.
Early 2015.
That started with phase one.
We'll go to phase one, to Rice Road.
That's actually called phase two.
Well, it is phase two at this point.
Okay. And it would take 33 months from that point forward to finish. Okay?
Any other questions? Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir, back here.
Madam Mayor, what is the status of the dirt excavation pit at the end of 463 and 22? Has that been permitted? The permits been issued? Is it good to go? Or I know there was a petition to try to either stop or modify that from the standpoint of the consequences of the traffic on 463 with dump trucks running up and down. I don't know if you've ever been around one of those. Those guys haul by the load, not paid by the hour. So as many trips as they can take, that makes more money for them. A lot of those trucks are not in a condition to be on the road, mud flaps missing, etc. 463 is a two-lane highway. There's a lot of concern from the standpoint of the safety of the residents along 463. So I just wanted to know if you knew what the ongoing status of that is.
You do know that's permitted by the county, and that's in the county.
Yeah, I knew that it was. I knew it wasn't that.
And I don't have a lot of influence with the Board of Supervisors. To answer your question, I don't.
The latest information I had, and I did look that up about 6 months ago, the Board of Supervisors has approved the permit for the mining of the dirt. And a resident lady who lives near there, named Carolyn Shanks, has filed a lawsuit against the county and its action approving the permit. And that lawsuit is pending in court. I don't know whether a judge has issued any orders or not, so the actual mining and hauling could well begin anyway. In the meantime, that's about the extent of my knowledge.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm Ray Phelps from Natchez Trace Village. I'm an educator also from Bill's House. Will these apartments have any impact on the Madison Central School System? Both my kids have been there. Will they be paying their fair share of taxes, this sort of thing?
anything that's in Lost Rabbit does feed into the JAG district. It would be in Madison Central District.
Would apartment pay their fair share of taxes towards the school system? I guess is part of my question. I understand also these people are way under their mortgages. There were some sales of some homes there that sold for about half the asking value. So that whole area may be underwater financially anyway. You may not want to basically annex it. But I was just curious about the relationship between the apartments and the dense housing that will be there and the school system. That was my real question. Is there a relationship?
There's always a relationship of whether or not the taxes that are collected for your school district, how much it takes of that to educate a child. And the problem, what we have here is an unknown. We don't know what is really planned for this area. Because you have a drawing that supervisors sent to Allstate in Chicago went on the trip and said, this is what you can do. This is the land use, the best land use for your property in negotiating and selling. And then when I fell heir to this, all of a sudden that's not going to happen. Yeah. But going back again to this, we better see what the covenants say about the developer and how a developer can change the covenants. We need to make sure that those people that bought into that subdivision are protected, the taxpayers are protected, and that this is not just a good deal for a guy who didn't do well the first time, so we're going to help him out.
And also, to give you a little further information, 3 months ago in this room, in this meeting of the fourth quarter of 2013, the speaker was Superintendent Ronnie McGee from Madison Schools. And he did say in his presentation that he had plenty of schoolroom capacity east of I-55 because it has not been developing very rapidly. And they already have trailers back around the schools west of I-55 because it's been developing much more rapidly than the school district thought it would. And I know for a fact Madison Crossing has about 6 or 7 empty classrooms this year. For example, that's an elementary school on Yandale Road.
If there are no further questions, I'd like to introduce our new fire chief, Derek Layton. Derek Layton is one good fire chief, and he's good at delivering babies. And Jim Butler, where are you, Jim Butler?
And he has experience.
All right, I wanted to thank Jim Butler. And George Elmore, he is our manager for Mona, and he is president of the Mississippi Code Enforcement Association. And George, we're so proud of you for that designation and proud for all that you do. Janet Danks is my assistant. We've got Jerry Cook here, director of Community Development, and who else am I missing? It takes you on. God bless you. Thank you. Remember us in your prayers, and remember, Madison is a city that prayer built. God bless you.
I'd like to make one other quick announcement. Mark your calendars. Our next meeting will be the last Tuesday.